Welcome back to the podcast. This is Jimmy Rex, and today I've got a special guest with us. This is Fred Warner, linebacker, just finished his playing career at BYU. Fred, welcome.
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah. So you had quite the career here. You were basically lived in Provo for the last 4 years, played all 4 seasons. You didn't redshirt or anything like that, so you're still a young buck, right?
Yeah, I'm still pretty young. You know, I just turned 21 a couple weeks ago, so... You know, just living life.
I love it, man. I love it. And so you probably graduate. What is that? Have you already graduated? You
so I graduate in a couple weeks after my last finals is over, and it's on to the big and better things.
Right on, man. And what he means by that is Fred is getting ready for the NFL draft and see where that takes him and all that. So pretty exciting time in your life, I bet, man.
Absolutely, man. You know, this is stuff that you dream about when you're just a little kid. You know, when you're playing football, flag football, you look at NFL players, you're like, man, I want to do that one day. And so the fact that it's here and it's so close, and knowing that my hard work is paying off is huge.
Yeah, and so you're probably about getting ready to leave Utah, I'm guessing. Where are you going to train and get ready for that?
So I'll be training in Irvine, California, Orange County. You know, and this is exactly what I want to do, and just focus on football and not have to worry about the school part. Right
on, man. Yeah, I bet. So was the school for you, did you, I mean, because I know when I went to school, like, I didn't take it that serious, if I'm being honest. Like, to me, school was a means to network.
Sure.
And it was a good way to get to learn how to deal with people and situations and stuff like that. How involved did you really get with this? Because BYU's hard, man. I had roommates that went there, and they were always studying. But, like, how did the school side of it to you? Was that important, or was it, for you, was it the football #1 and you were just kind of doing the school thing as well?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the way I was raised with my mother, I feel like school has always been important, and I know that football is not going to last forever. And obviously, like you said, the whole networking part of BYU is huge. You know, you get to meet so many cool and important people. But yeah, I think just learning about different things is actually interesting to me. That's not how it is for most football players, or even maybe most students. I don't know, but yeah, that's just me.
I love it, dude. Yeah, so I always would joke. I'm like, because I love to learn. I read about 100 books a year.
Oh, wow.
But I hate, like, when somebody tells me, it's like running. If somebody, like, tells me to run, I don't want to run. But I'll go run on my own all day. You know, or same thing with learning.
Sure.
But, well, tell us a little bit. You have a cool story. You got to spend the last 2 years here with your brother. But kind of dive in, really let us know. Because you were getting recruited by USC. I mean, the whole Pac-12, pretty much anywhere you wanted to go, you could have gone and played. And tell us a little bit, give us a story how you ended up here at BYU.
Yeah, so I mean, I grew up in a single parent household with my mom and my little brother and little sister who's 14, and Troy, he's a sophomore at BYU right now. And we all grew up in the church, and you know, early on we could tell that we were pretty good at sports, you know, I'd say. I didn't know how good. I didn't really know much about like the Division I level or how recruiting went, you know, because it was just me, it was just us and our mom, and of course she doesn't really know much about it. And so obviously I started doing well late in high school, and that's when I started getting looks at different schools, and New Mexico State was my first offer. And then BYU was like the next day. And so then I was talking to the coaches over the phone, and they said they would want to, you know, schedule a visit. I'm like, okay, cool. So like I'm on cloud 9 right now, thinking I just got my first 2 offers within the first 2 days. And then after that, like, got quiet. I didn't really hear from anybody. It was just, I had my 2 offers, and that was it. Like, nobody really talked to me after that. And so I was like, you know, I'm gonna go visit BYU, because I had good friends in my ward. There was a specific one named Brad Corbett, and he's a family friend of mine to this day. And he's probably one of the biggest reasons I came to BYU, because he brought me on my first visit here. And when I came here, I feel like the coaches and everything, how I was feeling about the campus and the people and the players, and everything was just so great. And so I was like, you know what? I think this is the spot for me. So I committed, and then after I committed, all of a sudden then my recruitment blew up, and then I'm getting offers from all the teams in the Pac-12, like Arizona State, Washington State, and then USC came into the picture. And so I was kind of like, you know, what do I do now? Like, I didn't know I was gonna get all these offers, and then of course the BYU coaches were talking to me, and they're like, hey, don't worry about all that. You know, you've got to remember why you wanted to come here. I'm like, and so it was true. I remember what I felt, and I was like, you know what? I know why I picked this school, and so that's why I stuck with it.
Right on, man. Okay, yeah. Cool. Well, one thing you mentioned in that story is you grew up in a single mother household. Mm-hmm. So was there some people in your life, some coaches or somebody that really, I mean, how did you kind of become, I mean, you became a leader your senior year, you one of the captains, you basically were a leader the last 2 years, but this last year a captain. and you have a lot of, return missionaries, older guys, being LDS, but you didn't, serve a mission, but they all looked up to you, these older guys and things like that. Was there an example of somebody in your life when you were younger, or somebody that really helped mold you into, from the football standpoint, into the player leader that you were? Or is there, was that something that you kind of learned more from mom and at home, or just something you naturally came with?
Yeah, I think it's probably a combination of like all those things put together, but it took a village to just raise myself and my family and my other siblings. A lot of it has to do with my mom, just the way she works, and watching that, and obviously different coaches throughout my life, through Pop Warner and high school, middle school, whatever, that I learned a lot from too. And I think some of it is just God-given. Some people have it, some people don't. And so just taking all of that, and then that what makes me who I am today. No,
that's great, man. So I remember when you were on your recruiting visit, you might remember this or not. So Michael Lisa called me one night, and he was a linebacker, running back at BYU, and he calls me up and goes, dude, I need your help, I need your help. I was kind of at that time throwing a lot of parties in Provo, and he goes, I've got this huge recruit here. I got a couple of them. I think it was you and Kurtz was, Nick Kurtz and a few other guys, and he's like, dude, I need you to throw us a party. And I'm like, all right, well, it was like 9:30 at night. I'm like, give me an hour, and I threw together like 35 people or something over at Arlington, and I was just doing whatever I could, but hey, I took a small pride when you stayed with your commitment.
Right after that, that's when I was like, you know what, this is for sure the spot, this is where I'm going.
I just was like, he needs to know there's some attractive females here at BYU.
It was great.
So how was dating at BYU? I'll jump into that a little bit. You and me both left Provo single men. That's not everybody can say that. So what was that experience like dating here, and did you, dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so coming to BYU, I wasn't really thinking about the whole marriage part of it. I figure everything happens for a reason, and God's timing. I figure when I meet the woman that I'm gonna be with the rest of my life, I'll meet her, whatever. And so dating, there's girls that I've met who I've liked and I've dated for a little bit, but I've never really have had like a long sustained relationship. I don't know, that's just kind of how I've always been. I'm still learning a lot. I'm still trying to figure out.
You're a pretty young guy.
I'm still young too, and so I'm still trying to figure out what I want, in life, and what's important to me. And so, that's kind of how I feel about it.
No, that's good. What was your favorite part about like the student life at BYU? Obviously, running out in the tunnel for the first time and doing the football thing was amazing. But like, what was it you loved about actually just being a student at BYU?
I feel like you get the whole experience at BYU. You meet a lot of different people, and so, there's people who are from Utah who go to BYU, and that's there's kind of like a bubble. I feel like there's a little bit of a bubble in Utah. People kind of just don't really see much outside of what you see here in Utah. In California, being from California, it's a lot different. I wasn't around a lot of Mormons, and so coming here maybe a little bit of a culture shock, but. It was cool though. I met a lot of cool people, just making all the relationships I have. I think that's for sure been one of the biggest parts.
Well, you would go out of your way a lot. I know one thing that you did for me. I hope you're okay if I share this, but so my brother Sam, he's a coach up at North Summit. It's up in Colville. It's like an hour and a half from Provo. it was not close. And a couple of years ago, he called me, and he was doing a big football camp for the whole high school, and he asked if I could get Kyle and Cody Hoffman, Kyle Van Noy and Richard Wilson to come up and do a thing for them, and they came up and did it, and then he kind of made it like a tradition, and I was able to kind of get a few other guys that I was friends with to go up. But then like this last year, he was like, hey, any way you can get the Warner Brothers to come up and do this? And I'm like, man, it's like 5 hours to go up there, do it, and come back. I don't know Fred that well, I was like, let me reach out to him and see. But by the time I was gonna reach out to you, like you'd already gone up and did it and taken care of that. Like that meant so much to me, man, because that was like, I know that you didn't have to do that. Nobody even found out about that. That's not something that hits the news, but that kind of spoke to me a little bit more about the character of who you are. And so, dude, I just, that was something that to me, is that the kind of stuff that being in your position as, an athlete and the captain of the team, is that one of the funnest things about that, those opportunities to kind of do cool things like that for people? Yeah,
absolutely, man. Just being on the platform that we are as student athletes, and especially at a school like BYU, where so many people look up to you, and I have so much success, and I figure, why not just share the blessings that I have with other people. And so I'm always trying to help out, and just like with your brother's situation, there's this small little town, and you know, we met at like a high school gym, and we just had fun. You know, we had a blast, and it was a good time. But I was just thankful to be able to just get back. You know, that's what I was.
Well, that meant the world to those people up there. You know, I mean, that really did. Every time I go up there to see my nephew wrestle or play basketball or anything, like all they want to talk about is how do you know Fred Warner? You know, and it's just anyway, it's pretty funny. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. But so I want to get into a little bit. One of the things with all athletes, there's so many ups and downs in a career, right? We've interviewed several on the show now, and one thing that a common story is you've got your ups and you've got your downs, and obviously you've got a lot of ups still coming. You've had a lot at BYU, but this last season was quite a trial, really get into that a little bit. Tell us a little bit how that kind of happened, or kind of what was your feeling going through that, and get, you know, our audience a little bit of an idea of that struggle you guys had to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, myself, I love winning, and I hate losing even more than I love to win. And so, you know, I've been around pretty successful teams while I've been here at BYU, going into my senior year, you know, my freshman season. When Taysom went down, we kind of started losing a few games, but we started 4-0, and we had a lot of success. We beat some good teams, and we're ranked at a point in the season. And then obviously the next 2 seasons we did pretty well too. And then I'm thinking, like, going into my senior year, like, this has to be, I have to go out on a bang. You know, I have to make sure that I'm the leader of this team, and I do what I can to make sure that we go out on top. And so, you know, obviously that wasn't how it worked out. And you know, you can attribute it to a lot of things, and I feel like, from my own perspective, looking back on it, you know, when we had we had our coaching change. Before we had Coach Kalani, we had Coach Bronco Mendenhall,
right?
And you know, I feel like we won a lot of games not because of just we had the most talent on the field, but because we were one of the most disciplined teams in the country, I believe. You know, he knew what he wanted, and we made sure that we did it to a T, or else, you know, there was consequences. And we knew we wanted to win as well, obviously. And so when he left, it's not that the discipline just all went out the window, but Coach Kalani came in, and he wanted to make sure that we knew that he cared about the players, and we loved it. You know, we loved him for doing that, and I feel like some of that discipline that we had with Bronco carried over into that first season. So we had the perfect mix of both worlds. We had, you know, Coach Kalani, who just all about wanted to make sure we have all the new stuff and all this gear and stuff, and we still had that discipline. So, and that's why we still had a pretty successful season as a first-year head coach.
Crazy, yeah.
And so then, you know, that season goes by, and then we have a whole off season, and so then we're kind of like, okay, well, like, Coach Mendenhall's not here anymore, so I feel like we didn't really have that discipline, so we kind of just got nonchalant a little bit. And, you know, didn't keep a strict structure like we had before. And so that's kind of what led to, you know, us not doing as well. And I've always said from the beginning, I'll never blame a coach because of how we play, because at the end of the day, the product that you put on the field, that's the players, and players are going to win games. And so, you know, it's up to leadership, of course, on the team. And so that's why I take a lot of the blame. And you know,
well, if you looking back on it, I mean, what would have you done differently? I know it's a tough question, and you never like to look back, but I mean, I think there are some things now that the season's over, you could look back. What would you say, just if you were in the position again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I feel like I probably would have started to push guys a little harder in the off season, you know, harder than we were currently doing. And we had a team meeting, just players only meeting, probably like 4 or 5 games into the season, and I wish we would have had that like in the beginning of the season, because right after that meeting, I mean, we played Utah State, which obviously we didn't win, but I feel like we came away like all on the same page, and we like, it was a very productive meeting. And if we had that sooner, I feel like that for sure would have worked. But you know, there's a lot of factors that went into the season.
So one of your co-captains was Tanner, and I mean, he had a really tough season.
Sure.
What was that relationship with you guys like, and what did you learn from watching kind of him go through those extra additional struggles that he had?
Yeah, it's tough, man. You know, when you're the quarterback, you get scrutinized so much, you know. And obviously he was on cloud 9 at one point. You know, he came in as a you know, return missionary after Taysom went down and threw the Hail Mary, and then played against Boise and won us that game with the crazy throw. And so you know, he had super high expectations going into the season. And so, you know, when you don't meet those expectations, obviously people are gonna you know, crack down on you. And It's tough. It's a tough position to be in, and but I always told Tanner I was with him no matter what. You know, he didn't really listen to the outside noise too much.
That's good.
You know, he kept his spirits high, and you know, he's a tough dude. Tough dude there. So
how did the fan interactions go as the season progressed, or you know, compared to the preseason hype? You know, BYU fans are crazy anyway.
Of course,
like
yeah.
I think I'm a pretty level-headed BYU fan. Like I get it. Like to me, 9-4 last year was a great season.
Absolutely,
you know,
yeah.
like I'm total, or 9-3, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Like I don't expect that we're going to win the national championship. There's things in place, the honor code and different things that just make it more difficult to get, you know, all that there. But were the fans? Did you have any bad altercations, or were the fans good? And one thing about you, by the way, is I think I had so many friends and family members that like they wanted to keep going to the games just to support Fred on his senior season, his senior team. Yeah, there was a lot of that, I know. But like overall, did you see like, you know, how were the fans towards you and the rest of the team as the season progressed?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there was a lot of fans who I would witness that they just completely were so grateful for just how I was playing. You know, and they would always tell me how, you know, I play with so much effort every single game, no matter what. And that's just who I am. You know, I don't really know any different. You know, and kind of halfway through the season, or a couple of games in the season where I know things weren't going well, and fans, regardless of if they were saying bad things about the team or good things about me, I kind of shut down from like Twitter and stuff like that, just to try and focus on the team, because I didn't want my head to get big and start building an ego, saying like, well, why isn't anybody playing hard like I am, or stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I wanted to be focused about the team, and you know, and fans are fans. You know that they're gonna have an opinion no matter what, and I understand that. It's, you know, it's part of the game, and so.
Sounds like you did a pretty good job of blocking out a lot of that noise and stuff like that. Well, so what are you most excited about now that you graduated in 3.5 years, so you had a pretty tough school schedule. Yeah. What are you most excited about going forward from here now that you're done with, you know, at BYU?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the easy answer is just to say my new career, you know, playing professional football is obviously been a dream, and now that it's here, creating goals that, you know, surpass just wanting to be in the NFL, but actually dominating the NFL and like being a guy in the NFL. That's what I'm looking forward to, and just working, you know, day in and day out.
Love it, man. Love it. So the draft comes up. That's in what, April, May?
Yeah, I believe it's April.
They're always moving it now.
Yeah,
I never know.
It's in Dallas. I know that. So,
okay,
yeah.
Nice. Well, and so outside of football, what other goals do you have, or what do you do to push yourself? What's your big why, you know, to motivate you with football and outside of football?
Yeah, I mean, I'm huge on your why. You know, I feel like a lot of people in today's world, they focus too much on themselves, and so they wake up every day with the mindset that, you know, they're gonna go throughout their day based on just how they're feeling. You know, how they wake up. If they're not feeling it today, they're not gonna give that much effort. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, my why has always been like my family, my mom. You know, just the way that what she had to sacrifice for me and my family is huge. And so, just being able to give back to her, you know, and obviously helping people too. And I'm looking forward to, you know, starting some type of cause to help people. You know, because life is so much bigger than just football, and so
for sure. So your mom is a big part of your why.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And what was that like? I mean, give us a little bit about that. Like, what's your relationship? I know you're super tight with her. Mm-hmm. I've gathered that much from you know, our limited relationship. But what, why is that relationship so special to you? And you know?
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that just how hard she was on us, and in the moment, you know, when you're growing up as a kid and your parents are hard on you, you're like, you know what, this sucks. Like, why can't I have a cool parent or something like that? And so now when you grow up and you start learning, you know, about being mature and like just life itself, and you take for granted how great that structure was, you know, and just what she had to sacrifice for us. You know, growing up, we never felt like we didn't grow up with much. I'll say that, because, you know, she worked a job from, you know, 7 to 5, 7 to 6, whatever.
Yeah, she's trying to provide
for us, and so, and she always made sure we had what we needed and more, and even, you know, at a cost, you know, to herself. And so, but we never knew much about that. And now I'm older now, I realize that, and so, It's huge.
It's a very cool why, man. It's cool to be able to have that in the back of your mind all the time, you know. And well, and even with your brother, you know, playing with you at BYU, I'm sure that was part of your big why.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, you know, I have 4 older brothers, and when you're a little kid, like when you're a little brother, you were never the little brother, so you might not know. But I mean, all you want to do is be like the older brother, right? Like you want to play like them, you want to be like them. So, are you gonna? Is your brother? Obviously, he's got 2 more years here at BYU. How's he? Is he kind of stressing a little bit not having you here anymore, or what's that going to be like for him?
Yeah, you know, me and him, our relationship's really tight, but we fight a lot. Don't get me wrong, like we fight all the time about just the dumbest things. And you know, he's going through rehab for his foot right now because he tore his Lisfranc Frank, which is like a 9-month recovery. But you know, I feel like it's going to be different for sure for him, you know, not having me here. And, you know, a big reason why he came here was because of me, and he felt like, you know, keeping that relationship with Ty was important to him, which it was important to me as well. Yeah. And, yeah, I'll always still be there for him.
Yeah. Well, and you'll be coming back, I'm sure, when you watch him play, when you have bye week stuff like that. But I remember, because like, you know, like my brother, we're 18 months apart, my brother Dale, and I think that's what you are as well. And we actually work together too in a different aspect. We do real estate, obviously. It's not football, but, and no, I remember like growing up, I mean, nobody beat the crap out of me more than Dale did, you know? And so, but then like you get older and you got that love. I think that's part of being tight brothers. You know, he ends up naming his second child after me, you know? And so it's like, that love is so tight. But yeah, I mean, my biggest whippings always came from Dale, but he probably made me a better person every time, you know, so I'm sure it's something like that. But
yeah, something like that.
No, right on, man, right on. Well, what was your favorite part of your whole experience at BYU? Just, is there any one thing that sticks out to you that like, and like, if you could do it all over again, I know you're very grateful, it sounds like, for your whole experience at BYU, but what would you say was your favorite thing of all of BYU?
My favorite thing of BYU, you know, I've always grown up and I've loved football so much. It's always been just my whole life. I always make decisions based upon football, and so, you know, there's some games that I look back on and I'm just like, I'll always remember that game, and I'll always remember like certain plays within a game. Yeah. And you know, that's probably the biggest, you know, memories I'll keep with me, or my favorite, I guess you could say. But yeah.
No, that's great, man. Well, it's been fun to watch you, man. It was, obviously, this was this season didn't go exactly how you wanted, but I know in my own life, I look back and the times that were the hardest for me, like I went through the real estate collapse of 07, 08, and that's the only thing I can compare it to from like my whole life. You feel like you're trying so hard and nothing's happening. You're just not getting the results you want. But I can tell you, man, for me personally, all the rewards I've gotten since then came from that trial of just pushing through all that. And so I'm excited to see what happens with you. I mean, one thing about you is you never quit. You just kept working hard, and dude, it's going to be fun to watch you from here. So
yeah, thanks, man.
Right on, man. All that for real. Thanks for giving us some time today, man. And we're looking forward to you. You got some big cheerleaders all over the place. So, all right.
That's right. All right, man.
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
it. Yeah.